So for around $800, I was able to build this game PC that has almost all new parts, 32 gigabytes of RAM, and it can play games at 1440p pretty comfortably. And no, I wasn't using any crazy deals in this video. You'll just have to watch to find out. Alright, to start off our build, of course, have to have our motherboard, but one of the main components is our CPU right here. This is the Ryzen 5 5600, one of the best value AM4 CPUs that you can buy. I was gonna go for a Ryzen 5 5500, but I wanted this to be a little bit better of a build for some reasons you'll see soon. We have Wi-Fi and a built-in IO shield, which makes a super clean looking motherboard. And this is regularly in these Newegg combo deals, which is how I got this one. But I would pay around $70 to $80 for an AM4 motherboard, and that is very much possible nowadays. Just make sure you look at Newegg, and also Amazon definitely has those deals. And yeah, it has everything that we need. So I'm gonna pop open this latch, and our CPU comes from AliExpress, hence the packaging. But yeah, on AliExpress you can find these at some pretty decent deals. I did get this a while back. Apply a little bit of pressure, and there you go. Make sure it has this exact orientation, triangle. But something I'm pretty excited to showcase is this 32 gigabyte kit of RAM. Now, these are just two separate 16 gigabyte kits. I don't want to butcher the name, but this is the first time this company is releasing this RAM, and their goal is to make some affordable pricing. And the speed is at 2666 megahertz, which obviously isn't the 3200 megahertz that we're used to. But for the price and it being 32 gigs, we're about to see the performance with that. And even though the RAM doesn't have heat sinks, it doesn't really matter as we won't really need it. Anyways, pop back the second and fourth slot here. Make sure it's all the way in, but do not force it if it doesn't seem to go in. And moving on from the same company, we have a 500 gigabyte NVMe. You would either go for 16 gigabytes of RAM or a 1 terabyte. That's pretty much the combinations I would go with to save money in some regard. And it's all personal preference, what you're using the computer for. Anyways, these can be bought on Amazon at an affordable price. And here it is. I will say this company did send me this SSD and this RAM, but I am gonna be completely honest with this review, as you will see the performance later. Anyways, with this motherboard specifically, it does not actually have a screw, which is really nice. You just line up the SSD, snaps right in, then either screw it in or snap it in. Now we're not quite done. I'm gonna have to actually open up our case box so I can access our air cooler and install it right now. All right, so I'm actually gonna record these with my meta glasses of what the packaging looks like, because it's pretty interesting, because this is how they store the air cooler I'm trying to get. The case does look pretty nice though. All right, and here we have it, a digital display on our air cooler, which is obviously a nice bonus. And I'm honestly just hoping I have enough USB ports, because our case also has a digital display. Now, I did get this deal on Amazon a while back, but they do have similar deals right now on Newegg. I believe this deal is not available right now. I would look out for it, and they also have similar ones around the similar pricing as well. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and uninstall these AMD brackets. Now, it looks like as simple as just putting on that bracket. And I guess I just screw it all in too. We got our fun looking thermal paste tube. It provides probably just the amount you need. It looks like you just line it up like so. Then I can screw it in evenly on both sides. And I believe that is good to go. And something you can do right now is plug in our CPU fan right up top, and it's always labeled with CPU fan as well. And yeah, that is everything installed on the motherboard. Now it's time to move on to the case. And here we go. And it looks like we definitely need to add our standoffs here, and then actually change these ones on the bottom. And in order to do that, we have a little tool that it gives us, which most cases do. And sometimes this happens where this fan will usually be in the way. So I would have to just unscrew this and then screw the motherboard and then put this back where it belongs. Whereas now it's gonna be much easier. And then the motherboard kind of falls into place. Then using screws that look like these, we can then screw in our motherboard. Now that it's all screwed in, it's time to move on. And here we go. I mean, almost everything is already installed because of this combination. Anyways, now it's time we look at the back of the case. At this point, I'm gonna take all the case cables and also the CPU fan cables and just connect them before the power. First things we got here is our USBs. And the USB 3.0 is gonna go through this center bottom. And then our USB-C will go through the left side here. Then we have our USB 2.0 from our cooler and also the case. that also go through the middle. And unfortunately, I do not have enough USB ports on this motherboard. I think a lot of other ones actually have an additional one that I need. And yep, I'm gonna need a USB splitter for this motherboard because there is one extra port that I need, which is okay, because it should work just fine. It's just for some displays. Anyway, take our HD audio and put it on the right side here. Then with our little panels here for F panel, this goes to the bottom right of the motherboard. And yeah, that's almost everything. Here we just have our SATA and also our RGB. And it looks like there is a RGB port right up here. You can go ahead and actually daisy chain them and then plug it in to our motherboard. Now we can take a look at our bunch of power cables. And these are actually pretty nice looking cables. They're like somewhat braided. Got the motherboard power up top here. Then I'm gonna route the PCIe through the bottom up to where there is a cutout for it. Then we have our CPU, which we just have to put to the top right here. Then we can take one of our SATAs and plug it in to the fan. And now looks like everything is plugged in. So what I usually like to do is just stuff everything in, make sure the computer works, and then we can cable manage. Now, before we install our GPU, you have to take off these brackets right here. I actually forgot to hit record, so I had already done that, but it lines up with our motherboard here. And then yeah, we have our 6700 XT, which is basically the RTX 3070 if you're an NVIDIA fanboy. But yeah, at $220, this is gonna provide the best performance at this price point, especially with our CPU, RAM, and storage configuration. This is all pretty much perfectly optimized. What I'll do is slide it in, and then apply some force, and it kind of snaps in a little bit. But as I'm screwing this in, I will say there's a few options around this price. Obviously, you can go ahead and get a 3070. It's honestly all dependent on where and how you get your deals and how much you spend on them. As for this build, I'd recommend spending anywhere from like $200 to $300 on your GPU. Options from this GPU all the way to a 3080 are pretty good. Anyway, the last thing to do here is just go ahead and plug it in. Yeah, snaps right in, and that is all that we have here to do. Anyway, now next thing to do is test out the games to see if all these things actually pair well together. And also the speed of our RAM and the amount we have to see if the budget RAM was worth it. So the first game I ran on this PC was Fortnite. And here we had 1440p, but then performance mode, because that is just what you should always play on, especially if you want the most FPS. And the game looks good enough anyway. Only the lowest I saw this run at was 130 FPS, and that is when there's so much going on. But a lot of times in this game, we're running around that 200 FPS mark, sometimes even more. I feel like I could have achieved better FPS in Fortnite. I feel like I just need more optimized settings here, so it still looks pretty decent. But more importantly, I played quite the game first game on. I tried some Marvel Rivals, and on these pretty high settings of 1440p FSR3 with quality and then medium, it didn't run too hot at 70 FPS on average. And to be honest, I would lower these frames anyway, as we ran much higher FPS with performance mode, 1080p, and low settings, which peaked at around 180 FPS, but ran more average around that 140 FPS mark. But this game is pretty hard to run. Then over on some Arc Raiders, we ran some decent quality settings once again, and getting over 80 FPS does make the game pretty playable. Obviously, it does look pretty good, and that is not always necessary. So I tried it at 1080p performance mode, and what we always tend to see is that it increases the FPS, but not as much as I thought it would. I mean, the game doesn't look nearly as good. I would just still recommend that 1440p, but yeah, it can achieve more competitive FPS numbers. And then we have Forza Horizon 6. I think this game is pretty optimized because it also ran really well on some pretty high quality settings. You definitely don't need a really good computer for this game, and this game obviously plays it pretty well on both high and ultra settings. On Cyberpunk, with the ultra preset, ran pretty well. 134 FPS was definitely higher than I thought it would be, but then ray tracing obviously kind of sucked. Never expect to run ray tracing even on budget RTX cards, as it's never really good or worth it in my opinion. So yeah, quick conclusion here. Should you buy this PC? Should you replicate this build right here? And the answer is always going to be yes, because I don't build bad PCs. But the main things you should look out for with this build is the Ryzen 5 5600 and the 6700 XT are a pretty good combination. And I'm pretty sure I meant to use a 5500 in this build, but you could use that instead if you want. But obviously the PC case, power supply, and the cooler was a pretty good combination, and there's a lot of those combinations out there. But the most important part is gotta be the RAM and the SSD combo. I did get them sent out to me. So if you're focusing on more CPU intense games, I would recommend getting the higher speed on the RAM. But if you're doing more multitasking, running more things in the background, then having 32 gigabytes definitely provides value there. And also the NVMe obviously is plenty. It's all about the price you can get those at. I'll make sure to put all the best links down below in the description. So stay tuned for more. As you can see, a little different of a setup here.